Alright, so today I have a build that most people would probably think is annoying to play against, and on the outside it might seem broken, but it has a lot of flaws. But today we're going to be pairing the bottom tree arcstrider with the exotic hunter leg armor, the Gemini Jester. So these released back when the Curse of Osiris DLC came out, and I literally forgot of their existence until yesterday when someone on my forum thread mentioned them, so today I forced myself to use them. But in this video we're going to get into what makes this build good, and also the problems that this exotic has and what can be improved on it. As you can see, all of my armor has paragon mods on it like the rest of my builds, but the reason for that is that the Gemini Jesters work around dodging. Now to get into the exotic armor piece that we're going to be using today, the Gemini Jester's intrinsic perk is called Misdirection. Dodging disorients nearby enemies and temporarily removes their radar. If you manage to get perpetuation over traction like I have on this Gemini Jester, you're better off with that since dodging refills your dodge. And now to get into why we are using the bottom tree arcstrider, we're pairing the focus breathing. Sprinting recharges your dodge ability and increases sprint speed, and also disorienting blow. Strike an enemy with this melee ability to disorient target and nearby allies. This combination is going to allow you to get up close and disorient a group of enemies and dodge around them with a shotgun and attempt to take them all out, but there's a huge cost to that and we'll get into that in a bit. But I guess first we're going to get into what makes this build pretty decent and the pros of it. So the first good thing about this build is that it would allow you to throw off a single enemy in a 1v1. If you dodge and use your vertical space to confuse them, you're more than likely to get the kill. You can also do this around corners since the range on this is decently far. It has some pretty mean reach, but try to play methodically and not hold W like I was doing the whole time using this. You'd probably get better results. Using this around a corner and not next to them lets you create some space and read the other person, so you can choose the option whether to slide in or jump in. Basically, it lets you control your one-on-one engagements better than you normally would. Also, another cool thing is that this counts as a damage tick, so this can stop something like a res or a heavy pull, and you can have the jump on the person trying to do either. You might want to pair this build with a strong shotgun or a sidearm for the best results. You're going to be up close and personal for your fights, so you'll need a weapon that fits that range and playstyle. To be even more of a bitch, when I first used this, I put on Aura Wings Maul with concussion grenades to have a third disorienting ability, but with how close you have to be to effectively use this build, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're a god with remote detonation launchers. With this build, there is a very high skill gap to make this thing work efficiently and effectively. You have to have good situational awareness and a good ability to read what your enemy is going to do next, so you can put yourself in a position to get the kill. Majority of the game, you're going to be running around the map and forcefully putting yourself in close quarter situations, so you're probably going to need to be pretty quick. But also, on the other hand of that, you can definitely sit and wait around corners for an enemy to push, and as soon as they come around the corner, you bait them into the dodge and they'll be disoriented, and that will most likely guarantee you the kill. So again, the dodge does have some pretty big range to it. You can hit people from around 10 to 15 meters away. This is going to let you disorient a whole group of enemies. But again, this is a high risk, high reward, so make sure you have the ammo and you single out your target before you aimlessly run in there to ape and end up getting shut down immediately. You can get away with pairing this with the top tree Night Stalker, so that when you dodge, you'll also go invisible. But with that, you have to pick and choose. You either use your dodge and go invis in hopes that your enemy won't see you, or you go head on and disorient and go invis using both abilities to get the kill. But it doesn't really matter which subclass you use, it's just your personal preference. But also, like yesterday's build, you should go check that out. There's an annotation on the screen. You can use the Rat King and dodge to throw off your enemy, secure the kill using the Rat King, reload, and go invisible while your dodge recharges for the next engagement. Another thing that can pair pretty well with this is the Way of the Wraith Night Stalker subclass, but you'd probably have to play a little bit more passive. And the reason you can use this is to get a crouch precision kill to activate True Sight, watch your enemy through a wall and use that to bait them into your dodge, and then kill them with the Rat King to keep the invis and the True Sight going on a consistent train. Anyway, that's going to be enough about the pros and the good side of this build. Now we're going to get into the negatives, the downsides, and what I think could be changed to improve this piece of armor's ability and use. The next couple of clips are going to be me using the build wrong and just forcing myself to try to get it to work. So, the first negative I've noticed as soon as I started using this build is that you have to keep putting yourself in engagements that are really close quarters and can leave you at a disadvantage, and I'm going to tell you why here. When you decide to dodge, the enemy can hear that dodge, and sure they might be disoriented, but you're left with about 2 seconds of vulnerability while you're dodging. In the 2-hit melee change recently added, you can still be hit while rolling, and majority of the time, you will be 2-hit meleeed out of your roll, even going up against one person. Another thing adding on to that is that everybody will have a shotgun or a shoulder charge, so there are more ways to counter this than there are ways to consistently use this effectively. And there's definitely no way to get around that. People will use what they want to use. Also, the disorientation doesn't really last that long. This is going to come into effect when you're dealing with more than one person. You're going to notice that you'd think the other one was still disoriented, but really he wasn't, which is going to get you killed. One way I think this exotic's intrinsic perk should be changed is that if you get a kill on a disoriented enemy, from the melee, the dodge, or a grenade, whatever, it should immediately refill your dodge ability again, so you can keep chaining these dodge disorients and keep yourself safe in a group, rather than getting one kill and dying. That would be a really big change, and I think that would make more people use this instead of throwing it under the rug. But another one is dodging and hitting with the disorientation wave should take the number of enemies hit into account, and give a small amount of energy back to all abilities per kill, so that there is some synergy with the other abilities in the tree. But in all, I say the good and the bad of this build are on a 50-50 split. A lot of it depends on what enemies you're up against. If you're matched up against bots, of course this is going to be very effective and very good. But if you're up against competent players, you're going to have a harder time pulling this one off due to the fact that they are always going to be probably more aware of what's happening, and they're going to be able to counter you. But anyway, if you enjoyed this build guide and review, consider dropping a like or maybe even a sub to the channel, and check out my other build guides because they're pretty awesome and I want you guys to use them too. But that's going to be it for me on this one. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.